government was to put our finances back in order after the last government lost control. That is...
The goal was to restore our finances after the previous government lost control. Keir Starmer likely never imagined he'd face a day like this in Parliament. He entered with his usual confidence but left looking completely defeated in front of the entire chamber. Kemi Badenoch delivered a takedown so sharp that every attempt Starmer made to reply only worsened his situation. The room erupted with laughter, gasps, and uneasy glances. Even some Labour MPs couldn't hide their responses. Some stared at the floor, others looked away, struggling not to laugh. But it was Kemi's next words that delivered the decisive blow. They didn't just silence Starmer, they dismantled him entirely, right there on the parliamentary floor. So, what exactly did Kemi Badenoch say that left Starmer exposed and speechless? Let's break it down.
Does the Prime Minister now admit that he was wrong to remove the winter fuel payment from millions of pensioners?
It might sound polite, even reasonable, but don't be deceived. It's like being handed a smiling bullet. Here's the hard truth. Keir Starmer quietly scrapped the winter fuel payments, a vital lifeline that helps millions of pensioners survive the coldest months. These payments, worth £200 to £300 per person, weren't just figures on a sheet. They meant warmth, security, and peace of mind for nearly 9 million elderly Britons, and he didn't announce it proudly or explain it to the public. It was done quietly, right after the election. No warning, no debates, just gone. Experts have cautioned that without this support, as many as 4,000 elderly people could freeze to death. Imagine that thousands of grandparents, silently suffering in the cold, because the help they relied on was stripped away. This wasn't just a policy shift, it was a decision with real human consequences. Before we dive back in, quick question. Are you enjoying the video so far? If you are, it'd mean a lot if you gave it a like, shared it with others, and hit that subscribe button. Alright, let's get back to it.
Mr. Speaker, the number one job of this government was to put our finances back in order after the last government lost control. That is, and to deal with the 22 billion black hole that they left. Because of our action, we've stabilised the economy, we've invested record amounts in the NHS, with a payment out for 3 million lowest paid, and of course we're committed to the triple lock, which improved pensions by £470 last year. And Mr. Speaker, because of the work that we've done, we're a country that countries like India want to do deals with because of the...
Mr. Speaker, this approach to net zero is irrational. It's doomed to fail. Those aren't my words, they're Tony Blair's. He wants to throw words back, he should speak to him.
Bring him back.
But the truth is, the Prime Minister is on another planet. His net zero plans mean ever more expensive energy. Across the country, jobs are disappearing. Last week, a ceramics factory in Stoke closed because of energy costs. This morning, 250 more job losses have been announced in the North Sea. And yet, the amount of gas the UK is importing is double. So why is he shutting down the North Sea rather than getting our oil and gas out of the ground and making energy?
Mr. Speaker, as I've said many times, oil and gas will be part of the mix for many decades to come. But net zero, Mr. Speaker, is an opportunity to be seized. We've had over £43 billion invested since July of last year in clean energy. That's good for the economy, good for business, good for jobs, apprentices and growth. Mr. Speaker, the global race is on for the jobs of the future, and I believe Britain can win that race. The leader of the opposition, I don't think, is yet a climate denier, but she's a climate defeatist. She doesn't believe in Britain's ability to win the race for our economy, businesses and jobs, and that they've never backed Britain. There's nothing patriotic about it.
Mr. Speaker, he's got no answer, but he couldn't even bring himself to say something. He couldn't even bring himself to say something to the 250 people who found out that they lost their job this morning. The fact is, pensioners are poorer and people are being laid off. From winter fuel to net zero, his energy policy is a disaster and everyone knows it. We know it, the public know it, the unions know it, his MPs know it, even Tony Blair knows it. His only answer is to go further and faster in the wrong direction. Why should we all suffer?
Everyone, even Labour MPs, couldn't help but laugh, because they knew Starmer wasn't being truthful. His message, stripped to its core, was basically, let the pensioners freeze. We had a spreadsheet to balance. He spoke about a £22 billion shortfall, as if that somehow excused abandoning the elderly. But that gap wasn't created by pensioners or the NHS. It was the product of years of political mismanagement and tax avoidance by the wealthy. Now he expects the poorest to shoulder the cost. He didn't repair the economy. He doused the fire and told pensioners to stay warm with hope, but Badenoch wasn't about to let him escape accountability.
Mr. Speaker, the only black hole is the one the Prime Minister is digging. This issue affects some of the poorest and most vulnerable pensioners. His mayor in Doncaster says it's wrong. His First Minister in Wales says it's wrong. Even his own MPs are saying it's wrong. He's refused to listen to me on this. Will he at least listen to his own party and change course?
Badenoch dragged him straight into the dirt, where the real truth sits. This isn't about statistics, it's about real people, real suffering, and real betrayal. And that betrayal doesn't just come from the Tories. It's coming from Starmer's own side. More than 50 Labour MPs, many from the North and Midlands, have pushed back. His own Doncaster mayor has spoken out. The Welsh First Minister has begged for a reversal. Even Lib Dem leader Sir Ed Davey has added his voice to the outrage. Keir Starmer is losing ground quickly. In the recent local elections, Labour lost 2/3 of the seats they were desperate to keep. Let's not forget that.
More significant threats to the possibility of a reform government, because if Labour actually wake up to the obvious, what's so obvious to the rest of us, which is that this guy is utterly unelectable next time round, and they actually put in someone rather better to lead the party, then maybe, just maybe, the Labour Party's fortunes will begin to pick.
In Runcorn and Helsby, Reform UK erased a 15,000 Labour majority by only 6 votes. Why? Because people are furious. Pensioners turned out at the polls, and they haven't forgotten the freezing homes and even colder excuses from Starmer's party.
Well, I think what the voters up and down the country, and particularly in Labour heartlands, are saying we'd actually like to change the government and let's have a general election, because, I mean, this is a staggering collapse of a government in just 10 months. I mean, this seat that we've just won, it's the equivalent of winning Hackney South from Diane Abbott.
Right.
And that's the sort of context we're talking about here. And voters have basically reject the lies of the Labour Party, and they've essentially sort of put even deeper into the bin the Tory Party, and people are absolutely raging mad about.
In Runcorn and Helsby, Reform UK erased a 15,000 Labour majority by only 6 votes. Why? Because people are furious. Pensioners turned out at the polls, and they haven't forgotten.
Mr. Speaker, let's spell this out. All the parties opposite would take this country back to where it was a few years ago. Broken public finances, interest rates through the roof, NHS waiting lists at all-time high. Because no other party in this House is prepared to say how they would put the finances straight. No other party is saying how they would invest in our NHS and public services. No other party is focused on the long-term prosperity of Britain. No one on this side, Mr. Speaker, is denying how big the challenges that we face, but no one on that side of the House is even prepared to take those challenges on.
Mr. Speaker, we wouldn't balance it on the backs of pensioners.
That line deserves to be on every billboard across Britain. While Starmer evades and deflects, Kemi Badenoch stands firm with unwavering moral clarity. She doesn't hide behind economic jargon. She delivers plain truth. Meanwhile, Starmer is left silent and cornered, just like the pensioners he abandoned.
Pensioners are poorer and colder because of his decisions. All the while, energy has got more expensive for everyone. Why has the Prime Minister broken his promise to cut energy bills by 300?
Starmer remains quiet because he simply has no answer.
Mr. Speaker, the way to bring energy bills down for good is to deliver cheap, clean, homegrown energy. And in the meantime, we've extended the Warm Homes discount to 6 million households, 1 in 5 families. That's £150 off the bills next winter. But what won't bring energy bills down is the Leader of the Opposition.
The reality is that Starmer's obsession with net zero and energy policies, drafted in boardrooms, has left working families paying the highest bills in Europe, even with record spending on renewables. It's a frustrating mix of arrogance and incompetence. Yet Keir Starmer tried to equate the use of fossil fuels with supporting Putin, as though wanting cheaper energy somehow meant endorsing his agenda.
Policy, leaving us hooked on fossil fuels at the mercy of dictators like Putin. I'll tell you what else won't bring bills down. It's them blocking every infrastructure that's needed in their own backyards. They balance the books, they crash the economy on the backs of millions of working people in this country. That's why they delivered the verdict they did at the last general election.
However, Kemi Badenoch completely dismantled Starmer when he made that claim.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister talks about clean energy. We have the second highest amount of renewables on the grid in Europe, and yet we still have the highest energy bills. This is not about clean energy. The Prime Minister has broken another promise. He won't admit it, but isn't the truth that he can't cut energy bills because of his net zero policy?
Kemi Badenoch exposed what Keir Starmer is really doing. Despite investing in renewables, energy bills aren't dropping because of the net zero policy. Starmer wants to impress the world by promoting climate action, yet he's overlooking ordinary Brits struggling to cover their costs. He's prioritizing global image over the citizens he pledged to defend. It was one of those political moments that sticks. Kemi Badenoch didn't just challenge Keir Starmer's net zero plan, she dismantled it, quoting Tony Blair himself. Starmer, who has long tried to claim Blair's legacy, suddenly found that legacy turned against him. By referencing Blair, Badenoch revealed a harsh truth: even Labour's biggest heavyweight believes Starmer has lost his way. This wasn't mere disagreement. It was political rejection, like being excluded from your own coronation. Blair called the policy irrational and doomed. Badenoch didn't need to add a word, his critique spoke for itself. When she remarked that the Prime Minister is on another planet, she hit the nail on the head. While Starmer discusses a green utopia, people are losing jobs, factories are closing, and families are struggling with soaring bills. She backed it up with facts. A ceramics factory in Stoke closed last week due to energy costs, and 250 North Sea workers were laid off just that morning. There's no solution in sight, and maybe never will be. Starmer keeps Britain reliant on imported gas, doubling dependence instead of investing in homegrown energy. The irony? His net zero policies shift emissions overseas while costing British jobs, all for appearances. It's not progress, it's betrayal disguised as policy. Starmer knew this. He read from his notes, trying to fill the silence with empty rhetoric. Even Labour MPs could see he was losing the fight over net zero. Badenoch simply said what everyone was thinking. What do you think? Does Starmer still hold any legitimacy? Could he be considered one of the UK's weakest prime ministers? Share your thoughts in the comments. Should repeated failures make him consider stepping down? If you want more content like this, remember to like, share, and subscribe for the latest in British politics. See you in the next video.